The sacred divine feminine is creative, abundant, flowing, receiving, and disruptive. And the new energy of money, including cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, NFTs, and even the metaverse, is all these things too. Welcome to the Goddess of Crypto, a weekly show where women who are already in this powerful space will cover these topics simply, so you can relax into knowing that the future of finance is female.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Goddess of Crypto. I am ridiculously excited today because I have with me my dear friend Juju. She is the mystical maverick, and you cannot imagine the spiritual energy of this woman. Now, I met her at a crypto conference, and I cannot wait to share her with you because she is one of the biggest delights of my life. Juju, welcome.
Whoa, namaste, beautiful goddess. You radiate. I mean, wow. So beautiful. You know, the mantra that I keep coming up, and you brought that up just by introducing, was so beautiful the way you're introducing, because, you know, too many words infect the quality of the intention. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you just introduced me in such a graceful way and not filled it in with words that really, at the end of the day, nobody cares. You know, I'm a CEO of this, I've been doing that. So it's like, if someone wants to know about us, they can go Google it, right?
It's so interesting because Juju and I, as I'm sure you guys will be able to tell as you're listening to this episode, we are officially members of the Mutual Admiration Society. When we first met, our eyes met across a crowded room. Literally, it was like that at this crypto show. And she just kind of bowed to me, and I bowed back. You know, namaste. The God in me greets the God in you. And then about an hour later, I was coming up the escalator, and she was going down the escalator, and literally we just reached across and grabbed each other. And that started a 2-hour conversation. I was supposed to go see my friend speak, and I had all these things lined up that I was going to go to. No, we just sat our butts down and didn't stop talking for 2 hours straight. And then we just saw each other again. We've been friends now for a year, but we just saw each other again a couple of weeks ago in person. And it was the same thing. Like, I could barely pay any attention to anything else. Juju radiates in person this like spiritual aura. Mm-hmm. And it's so powerful. And when the two of us get together, it's like we could just sit, like right now on this episode, we could just sit for an hour, not say anything. Mm-hmm. And I feel like everyone would get like spiritual upliftment because she's just so powerful. So what does this have to do with the Goddess of Crypto? So everything. Because the message that Juju was bringing to the last show that we were at together, Quantum Miami, was the idea of let's turn off the internet and turn on your inner net. I did not make that up. My brilliant friend Juju did. It's incredible. I was so struck by it that now it's been like, 2 weeks already since the conference, but I remembered that message as really affecting me in my heart. Mm. We have so much interaction with our technology these days that it's like we've become one with that technology, right? We're recording this on a phone, and we're constantly having interaction with your watch and your alarm clock and your telephone and your television set, and the world's information reaches you through your technology. So it's becoming kind of really a part of our lives in a way that it's, your phone tells you when to go to sleep and when to wake up and how many calories you burned and how much exercise you got. And I mean, it's really like, and what kind of relationship to have and how to have better, can have all this like better life stuff, but it's still, we're relying so much on our electronics. And when Juju spoke this message of turning off the internet and turning on your internet, It's about shifting into your inner guidance and using that as a way to have a better life. So Juju, please talk about that, because I know that our listeners are so conscious and I want them to get the gifts that you bring.
Oh, sweetness, you are. My goodness. Thank you for having me. And again, it's a privilege to be on your show. Your show is incredible. It brings forth the knowledge that, and yes, I will answer your question, but it's important for the audience to realize this, because sometimes we see people, we get used to those beautiful beings like yourself. And it's easy to not pay attention and not being grateful for the person that gives you the wisdom and feed you, not just mentally, intellectually, in your crypto goddess world, but also to feed you at the soul level. And that's what you do in your show. And I want to make sure that the audience pay attention, not just to me, but to you as well, because it takes two to make this internet intervention happening, right? And so as we mirror each other in the show, which when I hear your show, your interview are spectacular, you're able to really reflect upon your guest, and it's incredible. And what also, and yes, I will answer your question, what also got to me is that you have this, because this is related to the answer. Okay, guys, just pay attention to this. This is very subtle, but if you really practice this skill, your life will change. Okay. So what you do on your show and who you are, Hallie, each time I meet you and I see your work, you are, I'm going to say that, actively relaxed. Now,
okay,
you are relaxed and yet active. It's a combo. It's a secret inner knowledge that is part of practicing being conscious leaders. You're actively aware. So we can be relaxed but not taking action, or we can be relaxed and yet taking action. So in that state of consciousness, being present and being relaxed, but yet active, actively relaxed, actively aware. It's very powerful. It's very, very subtle. Because it takes practice to get there. Because we all have those big up and down, which is, I'm getting there, the data, guys, the overload of information. By the way, I am writing a second book about it, and it's called Infobesity. So I've been speaking on stage all over the world about infobesity, this cancer of the mind, because it's a silent disease that we are all in it, me included. You know what I'm saying? As much as meditation that I can do, there is the infobesity. We cannot stop it. It's actually going to get worse. But all we can do, first of all, is acknowledge it, at least that it is here, that it is a problem. That is number one. It's a problem. Don't try to fix it. You can't really fix it. It's going to get worse. We're going to have robot in the house doing the dishes. Pretty soon it's coming.
I'm prepared. I'm prepared. I'm going to be
I want that robot. I want that robot. Okay. Oh my goodness. But this fluctuation of the mind has emphasized now in our society with the social media, with this infobesity. So it's a silent business disease. And I'm telling you what, if we don't pay attention to this, it's going to cripple our life and our children. And so because we have to be role models at home, we certainly have to talk about those things and what can we do about it. So to practice being self-aware is a key to this, shift in your vibration. Because what happens when you get up in the morning, and I know you guys can understand this, you get up in the morning, what do you do? Immediately, we are addicted to this phone. Okay. What do? So here we are, CEO, powerful leaders, but yet we have this addiction. we have this, it's a burning desire. We cannot help ourselves. We have to pick up our damn phone as soon as we get up in the morning. Now, that is very dangerous, because if you're if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur or innovator, whatever you need to do, you must pay attention. The first thing you do in the morning, if you pick up the phone and your mind is relaxed, by sleeping, the first thing you do is what? You're pouring in, you're downloading, and you're pouring in so many thoughts right off the like in 1 minute. You're already infested in your mind. So that's the first thing. Don't pick up that damn phone in the morning. Wait a little bit. If you don't like to meditate, it's not a problem. Go enjoy listening to the bird. Listen to a song. Do something that is different, that will start cutting off this madness, so you can be more centered, integrated, and really feel this connection to source. Because people now, I'm seeing in business a lot, I advise a lot of executives, and what happened is they're being cut off from their energy source. It's very dangerous. And then, of course, they get sick, we get sick, and it's like a vicious circle. So don't pick up the phone in the morning. And that's the first thing, the first key, the first tip. So you can turn on the internet and turn off the internet. Give it a minute. Don't look at those thousands of email right off the bat. Come on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I keep my phone now in my office overnight, and so that I can't get to it. But my watch is by my bed because I'm using it as my alarm clock. And it's hard. This morning, the first thing that I did was look at my, scan the emails on the watch, even before I got out of bed. And as I did that, I thought, okay, I have to make a choice to not do this, because I find that spirit, which is, my word for God, and I think your word Absolutely. For God, spirit gets through easier when I haven't started my day, when I haven't started experiencing all of the sensory overload of our world. So if I lay in bed in that theta state, even before I open my eyes for a few minutes, I often have a much better experience with my whole day, because I can listen to spirit, I can ask questions, I can hear those words. And also, when you are in your, when you have your phone on, last thing at night, first thing in the morning. We listen to meditation on the way to sleep. Abraham usually puts us to bed. And I think that that's actually a good thing, but it's not a necessary thing. There are ways around it, if you will. So I feel like, it sounds like, Juju's first tip is move your phone into another room, or, don't pay attention to your phone first thing in the morning. And it's like, oh, that's so simple. But yes, because simple and easy, as I always say in my coaching, simple and easy are not the same thing. And we tend to say, oh, well, that's too simple, I'm not going to do it. But what we say is that's too easy, I'm not going to do it. But it isn't easy. It's actually really difficult. And for example, for me, getting in the habit of leaving my phone in the other room at night has been a deliberate choice. I have to make sure that I walk into my office, that I plug my phone into my office, and then I leave, and then I don't go first thing in the morning onto my phone. Now with my watch, I have to make a deliberate choice. And these things sound like they're very simple. And so aren't they easy? No, because we're so attached to this stuff. But it's like you're allowing God in more when you're not participating and plugging into your electronics. So, all right, keep going. I just wanted to share that.
No, this is so beautiful. I can hear you for hours, and it just feeds me, because they're just, you're just confirming everything. What else is there to say, right? But to extract out of this wisdom, what I found out by practicing myself. See, the thing of it is, I don't teach something that I don't practice. That's something I don't do. So by practicing myself and then, seeing others not being self-aware, not being conscious, living consciously in their business, what is happening is that because we are intuitively blocked, and I can talk about the pineal gland. I did a little bit on that stage, but our pineal gland, what happens, first of all, understand guys, your pineal gland is the master gland. Do you realize
that? If anybody doesn't know where that is, please.
Okay, that's your spiritual eye, your spiritual gaze, your third eye. There is a little key, your eyebrows. Yeah. It's just before the brain. So what happened, that little gland is a little light. In fact, in my workshop, I teach how to see it for yourself, which is so cool. You can actually close your eyes and see it, and it lights up like dee, 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 dee. So what happened is that
right between your eyebrows, it lights up.
It lights up. It's really cool.
Oh, I've never done that before. Okay, I'm gonna have to try it.
We'll do it. I mean, it's just a practice, an exercise, and then you start seeing. And then when it starts lighting up, you consciously, as a higher self, move through the channel of that light, and you keep walking through the light, and you go to a different universe, and that's the internet that activates. So the internet, we all light beings, okay? There is no somebody spiritual there and not spiritual there. That's something
True.
that I can't hear, you know what I'm saying? So we might not know that we are, and that's okay. But the fundamental of it is that we all are made of spirit. And the way we are wired in this bodysuit as we arrived on Earth, we are wired with this inner net. And one of the things that's really a miracle is that cells talk to cells. And that's biology, but cells talk to cells. So when you are in inflammation of the mind, the pineal gland cannot light up and your brain starts to shut down. So, the problem is this, is that now as growing up powerful leaders or whatever we are in our lives, we have to make decisions. And because our intuition is blocked, we make the wrong decisions. And then we go on cycle. And then we wonder, why am I broke? Why this is happening to me all the time? Blah, 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 blah. Because we can't raise our consciousness if our pineal gland is blocked. It's not working. It's not working for us. Our own system, which is a miracle, it's not working.
Yeah.
So we simply it's okay. We just have to reset it, just like a computer. You have to reset yourself. You have to reset your brain, And so one of my partner is the founder of BrainTab. BrainTab is a headset that you could put on and you reset the brain. It's very powerful stuff. Now, does this still technology that comes from the outside? Yes. But sometime I want to say this. Don't think I'm the yogi that is living by myself in the mountain and don't do anything and don't use anything. Understand this principle, because people think sometimes that we're conditioned to think that spiritual people, they're broke and they don't have anything. All they do is pray to God and meditate. No, that's not spirituality. Spirituality is the message of Holly teaching you how to be wealthy from the inside out. Do you understand the difference between being rich and wealthy, right? So that's Holly's world. That's why Pierre and I are getting along so well, because I invite technology in my life listen to this, as a tool, not being dependent, as a tool for you to perhaps, you can get to that door by using that technology, but you don't have to be addicted to it. Do you understand? It gets you a momentum to let's go. But once your mind starts training itself, you can do it without it.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just like I meditated now off and on badly for maybe 25 years. And in that period of time, I have been able to master some of, not all of, but some of those basics to the point where meditation is assisting me and guiding me better than it used to. You know, there was a time that I felt like, oh, I can't quiet my mind. And I've experimented with a lot of different kinds of meditation. I've done, you know, like, for example, a Zazen meditation, which is a Buddhist technique that is an open-eyed meditation that was taught to me by a Buddhist Zen master. And I've done walking meditation where every step is very deliberate and you're outside and you're in nature. And I've done all of these things because I wanted to know, like, how does my mind want to quiet? How does my mind want to participate in what I call the music of the spheres? And when I've learned more about what kind of lights up my pineal gland, I know I'm pronouncing it completely differently than you are, sorry. But as I'm learning this, I'm choosing more deliberate ways to interact with my mind in ways that quiets it, in ways that honors it. I've talked about this on a couple of different episodes. The app Trip that with 2 Ps that is on the Oculus. I've been using that as a way to have guided meditation a lot the last few weeks, because I've had my Oculus for just a few weeks, but I find the immersive environments where the planets are spinning around, or there's like an astrolabe, or you're like out in the cosmos or something. I find that to be deeply relaxing and very powerful. Whereas, for example, they have other trips that are very geometric and very, they have some that are mandalas, but they have some that are like really hard geometry, like triangles, like 100 triangles making up a tree branch or something. I don't actually like those, but there's so many of them inside of Trip that I feel like, well, other people must resonate with that kind of geometry. So I feel like it's, whatever works. Like last night, I sat down with my Oculus on to do a trip, and I abandoned it in 5 minutes because my heart was saying to me, you just want to sit in stillness right now. You don't want the guidance. You don't want the visual, because there's another piece of, like, if you're in an Oculus, it's like most of the time your eyes are open. And even if you're gazing at something really beautiful, your eyes are open. And sometimes I just really prefer to close my eyes, and I call it like having the elevator go down to the ground floor. So I can feel like, as my thoughts are kind of receding, I say like elevator going down. And that's something that I came to maybe, 5 years into my meditation practice, because my mind wouldn't quiet. And it'd be like, oh, allow the clouds to drift in and then allow them to drift out. That's the way the thoughts work. No, my clouds are like here to stay. I'm going to have like a thunderstorm in my head because of all the thought. So I've learned like what works for me. And, Juju, what you're explaining to everybody right now is great guidance. But I want everybody to hear it's really what works for you, because what's important more than anything else is that you're making the conscious choice to participate in that inner net. And I think that is something that, we've got. I was just talking to my PR person yesterday. We have got all this crazy town happening in the world, and it's kind of terrifying to us. It's like everybody's in PTSD all the time. So how can we use that internet to bring back a sense of calm during a time when the world is so chaotic and scary?
So here's the thing. You nailed it earlier, because you said, and in America, we're conditioned to do this. If it's too simple, you ain't going to do it. That's the problem, right? We're entitled, we're push a button, everything comes, and now it's even faster. So it's even worse than 10 years ago, right? Or even 3 years ago.
I was going to say, I guess, worse than yesterday. Yeah.
It's cookie cutter simple. You got to understand this. And I will get back to meditation, because meditation saves lives. But listen, if the mind is like a puppy, it's like a little puppy, crazy. It is a little puppy, jumping around. And we let that control our life and make decisions. Do you understand where it's at? It's all in the mind. And so our job is to practice the opposite, to train this little puppy to train him to sit, to train him to relax, to train. So first step is really to train our mind. Things that we naturally did as baby and as a child, all about the time about 7-ish. Now it's 6-ish. Because we become, at a certain age, we become, more conscious, the world around us, the environment, which you said about the environment is amazing. If you need to change your environment, change your environment too. That is a big deal. But there's an inner environment that you can't change, so you can adapt in all situations that you're in. You respond better instead of reacting. And wealth is completely blocked if we don't pay attention how we feel in the moment when we are experiencing this situation. We can't expect this incredible momentum result in our life, in our business, if we don't change the way we feel, the perception, our behavior, because we will definitely get the same result, which is insanity. So we have to do something, and we can now. Don't compare yourself to anyone or anything. Start now. Don't look at, 10 years, blah, 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 shoot off. No. Today is the day. Now is now. And you start today. So after listening to this, what I encourage you to do is to do nothing. To do nothing is probably the best thing you can do. And I said that to one of the person I'm mentoring, and he looks at me, he's like, what do you mean? I said, yes, I don't want you to read, because he's crazy about reading books. I said, no, that's enough. You're burned out. You don't need, what do you need to, you're going to read another book about learning something else. That's the intellect. That's not you. Your higher self is not what you think it is. You're not in the intellect. You have to go back to your, to who you really are. What am I? I'm not this body. I'm not this face. What am I? Right? And so all of this is part of regulating also the physical self in the way that was given to us from the beginning. All of our hormonal systems, our bloodstream, our heart palpitation. We get sicker and sicker, fatter and fatter. And that's the fact because what? Listen, I don't even have my phone here. Oh, here it is. So listen, this is what we do. Look at the posture. And I'm a yogi. I've been practicing yoga since the age of 12. So watch this. Look at what we do. Do you see? Okay,
if you're listening to this instead of watching this, I will describe. Juju is sitting shaped like a croissant. She is curved over with her neck hunched as she's looking at her phone screen, and she's sitting with her legs up a little bit. So she literally is in the shape of a C. So yes, I'm totally with you.
And so what happened is the spinal cord, which is our main channel, our main energy channel, that when it opens up, it goes straight to source. So you have this alignment, this energy cosmic force that plays with you at all time consistently. So we're blocking all of this. Can you imagine what are we doing to ourselves? So we have to go back. I'm not saying to go back, 200 years ago when we had disease and all this stuff. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about going back home to our true nature, which is bliss, which is happiness, which is joy, which is peace, is our true nature. So each time we get out of that vibration, you say theta, absolutely. Theta, state of consciousness. What we do is that we're now the robots. We're now acting like robots, and we're being controlled by something else that's not real. The only thing is real, and I'm going to say it only once. The only reality is the self, not the world. The self is the only thing that you know for sure that it is real. That's why you need to go back into that temple and turn on the internet so it positively affects everyone else around you, your life, your business, and the environment. The whole humanity lights up when you light up. Does that make sense?
Yes, I always talk about the second part of the famous Marianne Williamson quote, because she says, by giving yourself permission to light the way, you are unconsciously giving others permission to do the same. And to me, it's like we turn on that light, and then the next person turns on the light, and then the next person turns on the light, and the next person turns on the light until the whole world is illuminated. And I think that is just so powerful that we give ourselves permission when we say, like, we want a better world. And then we hear, like, will be the change you wish to see in the world. That is not a joke. That's a requirement. One of the reasons that I started this podcast was that part of my initial Goddess of Crypto download was the embodiment of what the Dalai Lama said, which is the world will be saved by the Western woman. And what I realized was he didn't mean general Western womanhood, but rather he meant actual you and actual me. And so I've, since that moment, lived my life saying, how can I uplift? How can I share? How can I help? Because this is my job to light my light so that others will feel like they have permission to light theirs. I hear so much in my coaching work, what do I have to say that's different from what's already been said? Or why is it that, that I feel like my voice is special? Again, going back to the more famous part of the Marianne Williamson quote, who are you not to believe that you are fabulous, talented, gorgeous? Because we're all children of God. And the idea of being a child of God is that we are all pieces of, we are all parts of the God energy, the God force. And so the reason we're here is to light up. The reason we're here is to share our blessings. The reason we're here is to share with the world. Now, speaking of lighting up, you've talked about this first part about, becoming the croissant and like all hunched over. But I want you to share with everybody what you shared with me at Quantum Miami about the difference between doing it wrong and doing it right.
Wow, that's super cool that you remember this.
Oh, not only do I remember, I've been doing it differently ever since. So
is it better?
Tell our audience.
Well, isn't it a little bit better? Do you feel more comfortable?
I not only feel more comfortable, I feel more energetic when I sit the way that you explained. So.
Okay, wonderful. Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing this. And it is an important piece that, my background is master yoga in the Indian philosophy. And so I come from that background, deep background of yoga wisdom. In that world today, they don't, in America at least, they still teach it in India, but here we don't sit quite the right way when we go to a yoga class, for instance, because the teachers are not trained that way. There's nothing, they don't know any better, and it's not even their fault. But there's a right way to sit and there's a wrong way to sit. And so when you're going to sit, even you don't even have to cross your legs. If you're on your chair right now, you're listening this, when you were a baby, there's a natural curve in your lower back. So if you listen to me right now, put one of your hand on your lower back, that beautiful, soft curve like the baby. Now you're going to tilt your pelvis forward, like you're opening a door, not hunching, but the opposite. Open it up to open your hips. And what happened here, your heart opens up and your shoulders naturally falls back. So you have a curve in the lower back that is a doorway. I call it a doorway to heaven. In fact, in Reiki mastery, we were taught that the kidneys are the window of life because your chi is in your lower back. Have you noticed, if you listen to this, have you noticed when you don't feel safe or you have a lack of abundance financially, your lower back hurts a lot?
Yes. In fact, Louise Hay says that all lower back pain is related to not being supported energetically, financially, or, like through a partnership or relationship. When you don't feel supported, your lower back hurts. And whenever my lower back hurts, I go to the chiropractor, but I also ask, how can I better get support in my world so that this pain will go away? And it really does make a big difference. Your body is like such a powerful GPS. And I think most of us tend to forget that and forget that we have a GPS that's all built in.
I just love your conversation. It's just so incredible. So I'm going to give you a gift, or your audience a gift, right after I close this part. So hanging there, you guys, don't go away, please. This is really important. This is like, this is like, this is the golden nugget. So hold on to your chair. So if you tilt your pelvis forward, your hips open up, then you have that beautiful natural curve as you are a baby that does naturally happen. Let your belly hang. If you don't, come on, guys. What is this with, I'm too fat on my belly? No. This is meditation. Let your belly go and flow where it's like, let yourself be the Buddha. You know what I'm saying? Relax. Let go of this nonsense and condition that we were taught that we're not enough. We're not good enough. We're not skinny. All these things, you got to let it go. This is you here to let that go. All right. So as we go back to our chair, you can do it when you cross-legged seated in meditation. You can't do it now. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but listen to this. You can take a blanket, fold it in, and when you sit in meditation on your mat, if you practice, or anywhere, you sit on a blanket, but not flat on the blanket. I want your hips to be just at the tip of the blanket. So you have that natural curve. You tilt your tailbone forward. Naturally, your shoulders fall back. Naturally, anahata, your heart chakra opens up. And naturally, a curve in your upper spine, in your sacrum, is going to be less. So your chin's going to be integrated. Your ear's going to be back a little bit integrated. And what happened is that your kundalini could open up. Now you're free. This is how you enter the internet. So if you are the wrong position, look, your body is your instrument, just like my guitar is my instrument. Do you understand me? You don't have to play music with an instrument. You are the instrument that's playing in your own divine orchestration every day. So you have to use it, utilize that tool, your own instrument.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much.
I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. You guys, stop beating yourself up. You are absolutely where you're supposed to be. You're worthy of it all. There is no lack of. I am enough. I have enough. I do enough. That's a mantra, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm saying this from having done this for 2 weeks. When I sit now, instead of just sitting, when I sit with my hips elevated slightly, it's like everything aligns. And the idea to me is, if I'm receiving, cosmic energy, I definitely want my cosmic energy tuning rod to be straight. And I want my receiving rod, my cosmic energy receiving rod, which is my spine, to be able to receive as much as possible. And that I felt for a long time that, being open, I don't think there's any accident that when you're a baby, that you have that soft spot in your skull, that you have that, fontanelle spot in your crown. Absolutely. Because it's the crown chakra. And it's like you're getting like the God energy comes in more easily. I've never even said this out loud before, but this is my theory, right?
No, it's not a theory. It's science. I can give you all the science to prove it. Okay.
I'm going to need to get the science behind it.
This is incredible.
I just always like connected those two things. And I was like, this looks like it's in like for a reason. So I'm always thinking about, all right, well, there's this spot where the three pieces of our skull come together. And that's the place that, that God can get in if we will allow it.
100%. Actually, it's the channel to heaven. It's the way to heaven. It's from that. And it's funny you said that, but when we transition, we leave our body. Understand what happened is if you're in fear that day, let's say you're fear of death, which is pretty common, I say. So you're fear of death. And what happened if you're in fear in the moment that you transition, the soul leaves the body, it does not leave from the crown of your head. Listen to this. And I'm talking about things that are pretty deep here. So when you lay there and then you're about to transition and you're going and leaving your bodysuit, your soul, if it's in fear mode, it's that lower vibration that we all, experience here and there. We know how it feels like. Your vibration is that low. Your soul cannot leave through the crown of your head. This is how important the crown of the head is. So if you leave and transition this earth in a state of unconditional love, God consciousness, and that peace with yourself and your accomplishment here or your life here, you will leave from the crown of the head and you will go higher in consciousness for the time after when you come back. So, and so it's important conversation because we don't realize that here, this life, we are being trained for the next one. And so that's why when you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So imagine being in fear, trapped there, and your soul cannot get out. It gets out from other orifices of the body, which I'm not going to describe. It's kind of weird. The other end is, so what happened is that you will come back the next time around, and you come back pretty much right away. Guys, you have to understand this. Come back right away, and you will choose the same experience. You would not evolve spiritually in your vibration. So what happened is that you come back right away and have the same experience of the life you just had, plus amplified. So if you had suffering in your life, you will have more. And the reason that is because we are here to learn that lesson. How can we ascend to God? This is the purpose. How can we ascend to our divine purpose before passion? How can we make sure that is the purpose? So all this to say, I'm going a little bit out of our conversation, but I think you made a really good point about the crown of the head. So thank you for that reminder, Hailey.
So when we get toward the end of the podcast, I always ask the same question. So I'm going to ask you, what is one more thing that you want our audience to know? And today I'd like to ask specifically about turning on the internet. It's one more thing you want everyone to know.
Yeah. And this is the tip that I usually don't even give in podcasts, to be honest. This is more like retreat stuff. But I feel like it's necessary here. So pick up the right hand or the left hand. You can do it with me, Holly. And the message is this at the end of the day. To turn on your internet, there is a knowledge that you must accept and not fear, is that you are not the body. You are not the mind. You are divine pure consciousness. So let that sit and resonate with you. And all fear will completely vanish once you have that knowledge. It's a knowing. It's not a knowledge that comes from book. Do you understand? So the more you meditate and turn on your internet, the more you'll realize that, which is self-realization. Okay. Now, the instrument, the body, it's very powerful. It's a temple. So you're going to take one hand, means the right hand. The body never lies. Then you're going to take the index finger and rub it on the top of the thumb. Rub it. Now, if you have fake nails, it might not work, but try it anyway. So rub it. Okay. Now, see, I'm rubbing my nails. Now, so for you, Holly, you would say, my name is Holly, and then you would rub the nail. And then right after you say that, you take a couple of breaths, and then you say the same thing with a different name. My name is Juju. And do that for me. And so you guys do the same thing. You're going to say your name first, and you see, okay, I'm massaging the thumbnail. Okay. But I don't want to give you the answer. It has to be revealed through you, like a moment. And then you tell yourself a lie. I am Joni, whatever name comes up. Don't make a big deal out of it. Have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? So if you say, go ahead, Holly.
My name is Hallie.
Okay.
My name is Juju.
Do you have fake nails? You don't have fake nails.
No. These are real.
So
they're painted.
So the index, rub the nail. Not you know what I'm saying? Really rub it back and forth. Mm-hmm. So go ahead. Maybe you have the color on it. Oh, that's probably why. Oh, darn it. Okay. So do it again. My name is Holly.
My name is Hallie.
And then choose a different name.
My name is Juju. Feels different.
Okay. You got it. Now, if we do it when you don't have the color on your nails, what happens is your nail react to the lie, and it will have many bumps, and you won't be able to rub it. It won't glide.
Oh, it doesn't glide.
It doesn't glide.
Yeah, you're right. That's definitely, nail polish would definitely get in the way of that. But I'm taking my nail polish off this weekend, so I'll try it then. That's very interesting.
So this is very powerful. And I teach that to executives because a lot of time, who's lying in my company, right? So this is the intuitive work that we do. And it's like you're learning how to turn the internet. So now you're very aware who you have to deal with. Are these people stealing from me? Yes or no? And simply, I teach them in the meetings, just start working with that, with your body. It is powerful stuff.
Yeah. This reminds me, I'm sure it's similar. It reminds me of muscle testing. Because I know there are definitely different ways to do muscle testing with your finger in an okay sign. And then you pull your finger through. Yep. And then also I've seen people do muscle testing with their arms. Mm-hmm. Actually, I had a couple come on one of my Egypt tours one time, but they had kind of I want to say they'd gotten addicted to muscle testing. So the guy would it was almost like he had a tick because he was constantly muscle testing 100% of the time. So it was super distracting. He would try to talk to him and it was like he was worrying and ticking the entire time because he kept doing the muscle testing. And I don't know. I feel like he'd lost touch with his internet because he was trying to hone the technique so much. But I find muscle testing in general to be very powerful. And it's if anybody's interested in learning more about it, there are books on it and there's information about it. But I've never heard this nail technique. I'm going to take off my nail polish and try it.
And it's powerful because you don't have to, you're right there and that's all. Nobody sees it. And,
nobody can see it.
No, exactly. And I am certified kinesiologist. So, I use, but I'm not like crazy, I'm not like all the time, all day long.
Yeah, that was a little bit much. So Juju, if people want to get in touch with you, I know it's going to be in the show notes, but tell our listeners and our viewers how they can get in touch with you.
Amazing. The best, easiest way is on Facebook, where we also have a community, the same title of the podcast called Mystical Mavericks. And it's just
so Juju has a community and a podcast, both called Mystical Mavericks. And the Mystical Mavericks podcast, I know she interviews some amazing people because I've seen some of the podcast recordings that are really, really incredible. So please do check that out as well. And where else is best to get a hold of you?
Insta, and it's my Insta is basically Juju Mystical. It's pretty easy, Juju Mystical. And we have we have other things, but it's probably the best way to get to get a sense, if you want to hang out and, we have a community, all these things happening, but it's always great time right now to be able to globally connect with others at that level, which is really in a mystical level rather than just, intellectual. And right now is the time where we are at the age of enlightenment, and you are enlightened. You might not know it, and that's okay. Sometimes it's better not to know it,
Yeah. Well, I hope this episode of Goddess of Crypto has lit you up. It certainly has me. Thank you so much, Juju, for being here. You are always such a blessing in my life. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. So grateful. Shanti, Shanti.
If you enjoyed this episode of Goddess of Crypto, please like it, comment on it, review it, and most importantly, share it with the women in your life, your mothers, your daughters, your besties, your girlfriends, your wives, your grandmas, everyone. And please let everyone know about the Goddess of Crypto podcast, because the future of finance is female.
Every week, transformational wealth coach Hallie Evelyn leads a conversation that helps to ensure that women everywhere can learn to surf the coming tsunami of the new energy of money. You can find her at goddessofcrypto.me. That's goddessofcrypto.me. Be sure to subscribe to Goddess of Crypto on your favorite platform or watch the show on YouTube. And remember, wealth isn't just your privilege, it's your right.